Well, Shut Up and Sing, Dixie Chicks documentary, co-directed by Barbara Koppel. You know, the deal is that just before the Iraq War, the Dixie Chicks were over here. They were on stage. They said in a rash moment, you know, we're embarrassed that the President of the United States is from Texas. Huge booing and intake of breath and garbled nonsense in America. Everyone saying, oh,
I don't think there was any booing in Hammersmith, though.
No, in Hammersmith, it was huge cheers. It was
okay.
absolutely fantastic.
There
That's
weren't
why
too
they
many
said it.
Texan Republicans there.
No, there were no Texan Republicans in Hammersmith at all. What happened was it was reported in the British press and nobody noticed. It was reported again in the British press and nobody noticed. Then it was picked up in the American press. And the next thing, they were burning records in the style of... Remember after John Lennon said, you know, I think we're bigger than Jesus, which always reminds me of that fantastic joke in the Beatles and in the Ruttles, in which he says he didn't say we're bigger than God. What he said was we're bigger than Rod, meaning Rod Stewart, and he was right because Rod Stewart wouldn't break big for another 7 years. It's a funny little documentary. I'm not a huge Dixie Chicks fan. I quite like them, but the funny thing about it is that in the sort of director's intention statement, it says, you know, it's a great portrait of independent artists defining their right to free speech. No, it isn't. It's a nice film about some nice people who make some nice music, who said something that was perfectly passable on stage and got hideously blackballed for it. They were never really that political. It was just a kind of mistake. And although they, you know, what they did was they stood by it in as much as they didn't retract it. It wasn't like they said anything really, really terrible. The real interest is just how hysterical and over-top the American reaction was. But it's perfectly fine, and there's some nice banjo playing in it and some nice fiddle playing in it. I just don't think it's quite the hard-hitting political work that perhaps Barbara Koppel thinks it is.